everyone, I'm Ross Chastain, and welcome to Season 3 of Acta Asphalt, presented by Fresh from Florida and powered by Like a Farmer. Now remember, these episodes are going to come out every other Thursday, and you can find them on the Like a Farmer YouTube page or wherever you listen to your audio podcasts. All right, we are so back for Season 3 in comfortable chairs. Ben, welcome on camera.
Thank you. This is a huge step up from what we had last year.
If you go back and you think about Season 1, Pat and I filmed everything in one day down in an incredible timber farm in Florida, and we told the stories of family farms. Season 2, we did 18 farm visits and 18 episodes here back at the shop, or the studio at the farm, I guess technically.
We still haven't gotten that verbiage down yet.
Yeah, well, it's just an old milking parlor. This was an old dairy barn.
And I didn't know that when you were telling that story.
Yeah.
So that was
We're sitting on the wrongs. We're sitting where it was not good
right
now.
Yeah.
But look, there's still dairy farms all across this country. This used to be one. It's not anymore. And I sat on a bar stool behind that toolbox with the butcher block on top by myself, begging for you to come on camera, and the powers that be wouldn't let you.
Yeah. We just didn't have it. I was confined to my wooden splintered chair over in the corner.
Yeah.
And what an upgrade. This is great.
What an upgrade. The fourth wall is not done. And we talk about, people talk about breaking the fourth wall on camera, but the fourth wall here really can't be viewed. It's not done yet.
Yeah.
This is a 3-wall studio.
It is.
Work in progress.
It is. But I mean, from what we have on this wall, as I'm already hitting my mic already, check it out, guys. This is cool. We obviously wanted to have, some more memorabilia, kind of I think the way I described it when we were setting up was like guy garage barn setup that like you just hang stuff on the wall that is just whatever you find cool. So we got the trophy behind you from Nashville, Busch Light, obviously, because we're Busch Light people. What's your favorite part?
I mean, the trophy in the Coke machine.
The one that we have to like look through.
We do.
Yeah,
the 600 trophy,
yeah.
for sure. And look, that's going to be something that I'm purposely not going to bring up when Brandon McSwain, our first guest, is here, because he was the engineer on the 24 that we beat for that 600 win. So I'm leaving it, though, because he was definitely a competitor when we won that. Mm. But yeah, the Coke machine is really, really cool. This wood in here, I don't know if we've ever talked about it, came from Barnwell, South Carolina. Mm. The Dix family, Hamilton Dix, longtime guy in the watermelon industry, has retired from watermelons, from the sales side, and has a couple of hobbies: hunting, really big into worldwide hunting, and woodworking. So we made a trip down, I guess 2 years ago now, and picked up this wood. He told me all kinds of what it was. I can't remember what kind of pine or this or that or oak or what it was, but wanted to get it from him. And we're going to keep building out the barn here and keep lining the walls with some South Carolina's, some of their finest wood.
Yeah, and hopefully some more trophies that we can put around.
This Facebook Marketplace table beats.
I'm very shocked it's holding up the trophy. For people that don't know, this trophy weighs, I'm going to say 400,000 pounds minimum. So it's doing a good job holding it. I'm not going to shake it too much because it's not. But the one thing we just put in today, which I didn't even know you had these, was the Sparko shoes. Yep. That you won. Was it Sparko Driver of the Year when you did the Hail Melon?
Yep.
So that's kind of a cool touch. I don't know if everybody on camera they can see it, but it's got the red fur moose, and it's got like this kind of paint on it that kind of resembles like wall scrapes and stuff. So I thought that was kind of a cool touch.
Yeah, so. Connie presented us with that after the Hail Melon. That was cool, and it's those little things that mean a lot. I've kept a couple of tires over the years, so that's a Nashville tire behind us.
I was wondering which one that was.
Purple confetti.
Yeah. Yep.
I've got a Coda tire. Kansas win up there, the box up there. I think that's the best part of winning Kansas, the trophy.
Yep.
We've been fortunate enough to win a truck race and a cup race there. The trophy's not needed on camera. We'll just do the box.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, I love that the Coke machine has it too. It still has all like the spray, the beer spray and everything on there. So you're keeping that on there as is.
One of the final things I remember about Victory Lane was actually the guy that builds that. He grabbed me and he like grabbed my shoulders and said, "Don't wash it with soap. Just warm water, warm like microfiber, just wipe it down and let it air dry. Like you can buff it lightly, but don't use soap on it. It's an old machine, completely rebuilt.
That's super cool.
I do have to get a mason jar for it. When they moved it out here, the mason jar fell out. It catches the water as the system runs, and it sweats, and it's supposed to go in a mason jar and then it'll evaporate. And they didn't know what it was. So David threw that mason jar away. I'm blaming him.
You can blame him. That's fine. I definitely may or may not have been there, but
y'all also transported it horizontal, which is like the worst thing to do with old machines.
You can, they said you can, but you have to let it sit upright for, I think, a day to get all the coolant to kind of settle.
A day can be a big difference. A day is
it's not plugged in though.
I called when I found out. I was like, "Do not plug it in." He said he hadn't, but it's had plenty of time to sit. We are so late starting the podcast this year.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah,
I guess. It's our podcast.
It's the audience. You have to say sorry to.
I don't even think anybody's missed it.
I think people have missed it.
I think once they see this version of it, now our third try at it, they're gonna. If we stopped, then they would miss it.
Yeah.
This is much better. Comfortable. These chairs I picked out. I sent you the link.
Yep.
I've sat in these at Chevy. They have them at the tech center.
Okay. I was wondering where the inspiration was.
Yeah, I definitely don't have these in my house.
Yeah.
But yeah, nice. Yeah. Fine. Comfy.
Yeah, they're good.
Thanks for building this out. You did a lot of the work for this.
Yeah,
so
it's all part of it. It makes my job easier when it's comfortable for everybody and we have a good setup. So makes us happy to come to work, I guess. So we're excited about the format this year. We're going to be incorporating some interviews. You mentioned that we have Brandon. That's our first guest for this episode. We're going to be doing still a mix of the farm visits that we're still working on putting together. But we're going to kind of, give a little extra behind the scenes, I guess, of some people on your side of racing that don't maybe get a lot of screen time and everything. And we'll see who else we decide to have hop in the studio.
Yeah, I mean, as we've talked through it, I want to tell the one car story. You got David Farrow, our car chief, Too Tall, Michael Medill, front end mechanic, and as you go down the list, I don't know how deep we'll go, but some of those guys are the reason the car goes fast, and I want to let them tell their story. So we're gonna tell some farm stories for sure. And we're also gonna tell some of the one car, and it's a team sport, and I have the platform and the spotlight. Thank you for bringing all these lights, and we'll set them down here and see how they talk on camera.
Yeah,
a lot of them were racers before, so they've done interviews when they were younger, but it might have been a little while.
And you've worked with a lot of them for a long time. Brandon specifically, we won't get too much into it, but you guys knew each other for a long time, which I thought was cool. I definitely didn't know the lore that went behind you guys going through your NASCAR journey together. So that was cool.
That's right.
Our first episode was supposed to be, I guess, pre-Clash and everything. And we're going to catch everybody up on, everything up until then. So how was your off season? I know you're a new uncle. Chad and Lacey had their first kid. So congratulations on Uncle Ross.
Yeah.
That was the thing. So how has that experience been?
That has been awesome. Limited time, honestly. She was due and she went 7 or 8 days past her due date. So we were all like, every day waiting. I was actually in Mississippi with Jordan's family over there hanging out and got the call that they were inducing Lacey. So I jumped on a flight out of Memphis and flew to Fort Myers, got there in the middle of the night, went straight to the hospital. She had her early the next morning. So I'll just be honest, we were those crazy people that sat out in the lobby. I don't know why. Like we could have been 20 minutes away at the house sleeping in my childhood bed that my parents still have in my room the way it was set up. But we all hung out, aunt and uncle, Carl and Steve, mom, dad, and Lacey's mom and sister. So, little Ashley has been great. My dad was just telling me last night that she's changed from like the infant to like a baby that he was trying to describe it. He's like, she can like turn her head now. She's like holding her head up. And so they all help watch her while Chad's working at the farm. Lacey in the salon doing hair. So busy life down there, but been great.
Good.
First grandchild for my parents.
Okay, nice.
So for me and Chad being the two brothers, big deal.
Yeah. Are you going to be, obviously you're busy with your daytime job and stuff, but are you going to be the fun uncle that when you do come and visit, you're going to, bring all the action and all the good times and the don't tell your parents we're doing this stories?
I mean, her dad, Chad's going to have that pretty well handled.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of things I believe he does with her that Lacey's not going to know about, knowing Chad.
I can see that.
Unless, I mean, some people change, but we'll see. I believe once she's old enough, Amazon deliveries might show up with fun things for her,
right?
While I'm off racing somewhere.
Right.
He's a racer too. They live in a barn dominium. They've paved the driveway around the barn dominium, so they race go-karts around that right now. So I'm sure as soon as Ashley's old enough, she's going to be in the little champ cart out there driving. I don't think she's going to lack for fun things to do as a kid.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think I'm going to have to be, restrain myself to not spoil her. She needs to learn. She's going to have to learn a lot.
Right.
So 700 miles away, so I can't spoil her too bad.
Yeah, from afar.
Yeah.
But
was down in Florida for a lot of November and December. January hit back up here. I did move, so I live out here at the farm now where this studio's at. So got remodel done on the house. Still some things coming along there, but definitely nice to be out here. First time I've been able to live on any amount of land up here in North Carolina. I've rented houses for years, rented townhouses, lived in race shops, lived with other drivers, and all that work, is paid off with a investment in land. So I don't shy away from the opportunity to buy land, and definitely excited about this piece, and getting to spend some time out here and deer and turkey walking around. It's a sanctuary out here. It's really cool. So now when we get done filming, I just walk back to the house. It's nice.
It is. Yeah. More importantly, the thing that I'm proud of you for is you've purchased your first couch, your first brand new couch. You haven't borrowed one. You haven't, gotten one from somebody for free or anything like that. So that's got to be a big first step.
I've never paid a single dollar for a couch in my life. This was the first one. So it's always been hand-me-downs. Guys growing up, I'll call it, their better halves telling them they need a new couch for however life's going. And I've been getting those couches, and I've been upgrading over the years. I thought my couches were okay. And went and bought a brand new one.
But I feel like with having the new one, are you I don't want to eat on it. I don't want to have a beer on. I don't want to, it's just for sitting, but no eating, no nothing. Or are you it's a couch. It's going to get rung through it.
It's a couch.
Yeah.
The house is a house. We're growing good times here, not clean couches.
Right
so
on.
We'll clean it when we're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, when I bought it, they told me all about how whatever treatment it has on it, red wine won't even stay. And I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about too much red wine over here, but occasionally.
Yeah.
But no stains on it yet.
That's good.
That I know of.
That's good. Yeah. Well done. Yeah. That was off season, I guess.
Clash was crazy.
Yeah.
Weather.
Yeah. I mean, that was part of the reason we kind of had the delay on getting our first episode off the ground. That was nuts. Snow at racetrack.
Yeah. I'd never seen sleet inside a race car before. Got done with the Clash, average finish, and came back here. A couple buddies stopped by, and we actually had beers out in the snow to keep them cold.
There you go.
I don't know how often I'll be able to do that out here, but that was cool. After the Clash was over, got home. Okay, beers in the snow. That was a cool thing.
Yeah, so, ice cold, snow cold beers,
snow cold Busch Lights.
Yeah,
they were good. It was good to get the first race done, respectable finish and effort. So I think Bowman Gray is here to stay.
You would know more than I would.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, what else? We could move it around. I mean, there's a little bit of chatter about New Smyrna. But there's an investment that has to be made there, but NASCAR could do it. I'd love to see it selfishly as a Florida kid and guy that raced, and really my life changed winning at New Smyrna. I'd love to see that, but we could sprinkle that in somewhere else. Bowman Gray's great. Hour from the house.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I felt like it's been a very interesting start to the season as far as the schedules that, or the racetracks we've been going to, because you have drafting at Daytona. Well, Bowman Gray short track, drafting Daytona, drafting Atlanta, COTA, which always has its, things that happen there. I feel like, and then, once this episode goes out, it'll be post Phoenix, I guess. Yeah. Yep. Going into Vegas. So are you kind of looking forward to just having some normal tracks eventually after this kind of stretch?
They all give the same amount of points.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't care. It's like, sign me up. I know what it is when they released the schedule the year before. I knew last year. And yeah, was I excited going to Phoenix? Yes. Am I excited going to Vegas? Yes. But I was also excited going to Echo Park Speedway and Daytona, and even the Clash being not 4 points. So they all give the same amount of points. The duels gave points, and so did stage 1 at COTA, which we won. That's a bright spot. McSwain was on my butt to get some stage points, and there was not a chance. When we qualified up front, I was like, there's no way he's short pitting me. We are grabbing these points because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And then, lo and behold, tire flies off. So glad we grabbed them, because we would have never gotten those points back if we didn't get them then. Reddick.
I was going to say, the guy that's gotten a lot of points this year.
My gosh. Went dominated COTA. Was not good the first stage. I thought his car was bad, but he said he was just going too slow. And then went up and took back control of the race and held it. Beat Shane. The other two, totally right place, right time. Got through all the drama in the super speedway races of drafting, and was there at the end. So hats off to him. When you're living right, you're living right.
Yeah. Momentum seemed to carry very quickly for him. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at with the podcast, and kind of getting our first episode off the ground. We're looking forward to it. I think the format's going to be really good this year. I think we're already excited about it. So yeah. Well, should we get to your interview with McSwain? You sat down with your new crew chief for this year, calling the shots.
Yeah, man. Brandon McSwain is a Florida kid, a few years older than me. I'm excited for people to get to know Brandon. I've known him for more than a decade, but getting to know people behind the scenes, I think is going to be a cool added feature of this podcast this year that we've never done before. So these parts, when we interview people, are going to be brought to everybody by Georgia Boot. They're back for another season. Maybe we'll get you a pair to wear in here, please.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, come on. I need to dig around and see if I got what size are you?
Probably 9.5 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll go look for some boots while I also interview Brandon. So let's kick it to our interview with Brandon. All right, guys. Today here at the studio at the farm, we've got Brandon McSwain as our guest. Brandon is the crew chief on the number 1 car for Trackhouse Racing. Welcome to the studio, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Have you gotten used to that title yet?
No, it's still obviously fresh, but I'm sure as the year goes on, if people address you as that, you'll acknowledge it. But I'm just Brandon.
Yeah.
So
my crew chief, though, that's cool to say.
That is
long time coming for us.
That's if you would think back many years ago, we probably joked about it at one time, but for it to come to fruition is obviously pretty neat.
Yeah. So tell people a little bit about you. We don't know you. We want to act like we don't know who you are. We don't know where you came from. You're a Florida guy.
I'm a Florida guy.
Where did this crew chief role, like you're now a crew chief in the NASCAR Cup Series, but where did that start?
So I am from Arbondale, Florida, Central Florida area. I tell everybody that's in racing, I grew up probably 10 minutes from USA International Speedway, which RIP, great racetrack, but now is a Amazon distribution center. Grew up down there, a longtime NASCAR fan. My dad was a big Dale Earnhardt fan, so I kind of followed suit. Got into racing through him, did a little driving myself as a, probably teenager. Arbondale Speedway had what they called a kids club. I don't know if it's still around anymore, but it was basically 10 to 16-year-olds, and you would have a co-driver with you, sit in the passenger side, and you started out driving 4-cylinder cars and kind of worked up to, being by yourself. So did that for a few years, and then drove, I think they're still called modified mini stocks now, several tracks in the state of Florida. And I quickly learned that I probably wasn't the greatest driving talent, and I didn't have the money to go super far. So I kind of, was interested in the engineering route. Engineering was becoming pretty, you know, heavily dominant in the NASCAR world. Probably about the time I graduated from high school, mid 2000s, and knew that I wanted to kind of get into the sport. Being a crew chief probably wasn't at the forefront of my mind, but so I moved up here in 2010 to finish college at UNC Charlotte. I figured, I wanted to be in the, you know, the heart of the NASCAR world, and knew that if you're closer here, it's easier to get your foot in the door. And obviously, after graduation, shortly after that, I got my first job in the industry, which is ironically how we met at Shigetori's. And from there, I honestly thought I was just going to be a race engineer for majority of my career. And then I think as you get along and you hone your skills, it's kind of like, hey, like, the trend of engineers rolling into crew chiefs is pretty predominant, in today's NASCAR world. So I think it was kind of, a natural move, so to say. And I thought, the timing was right, and here we are.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think through that. So we met in 2014 in the Nationwide Series, now O'Reilly Series. I had gotten fired from a truck team. I was at lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I ran into Bruce Cook, and he asked me what I was doing. I said I didn't know. And he said, well, why don't you ride over to the shop? I want to introduce you to Shiggy. And I said, who? And he said, Shigeaki Hattori. He owns our Nationwide team.
Yep.
Johnny Sauter drives for us mostly, but there might be somewhere Johnny can't drive. We have a conflict in the truck and Nationwide schedule.
Yep.
So we finished eating lunch. I rode over there, and then that's where I met all of y'all.
Yep.
Crazy. You were the engineer.
Yep.
And I had no idea that was your first role.
Yeah.
But there's some cool pictures of us at like Charlotte that fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to describe the car. I've never driven a rally car around Charlotte, and I'm like, oh, it's doing this and it's doing this wrong. And little did I know, you didn't know either. You're like, okay, it's doing that. All right, well.
I mean, I laugh because I think we were both so young in the sport that we really didn't know, right? And I give a lot of kudos to Bruce. I feel like, between him and Nick Hutchins, I learned a lot. I came from a world where we didn't have truck arm cars, right? So the rear suspension in the O'Reilly cars, the Nationwide cars then, and the old Gen 6 car are, truck arms out of like a 70s Chevy, basically. So in Florida, we didn't have those, so I didn't really know anything about them. And so kudos to those guys for kind of taking me under their wing. And I felt like I learned a lot that first year. And I still, like, that whole group, I'm sure is like a great group of guys. Like, we were super tight knit. We drove to a lot of places. We got along really, really, really well. And I felt like I grew really, quickly in the sport, and a lot of guidance from Bruce. And I think, if it wasn't for him getting me going, I don't think potentially I'm not sitting here in this, position today. So I definitely owe him a lot. Obviously, we both thought when this deal came about that we wanted to tell him, he's kind of a father figure to us in a way. So I thought that was pretty neat to kind of share our news with him and how far we've came in 12 years. So yeah, that was a fun year, right? I look back, I have pictures on my phone of us sitting in a hotel room in Michigan playing video games in the hotel, right? So the racetrack, we're just young, right? Just, we don't know any better. So yeah, it's really, I feel like for both of us, the sky was the limit at that time, right? And you and I probably lost touch through the middle parts of our careers, but we always would keep an eye on each other. And obviously, as I grew in my professional role, and same with you, and then when this deal, was a potential, it was obviously something that I like, man, it's a match made in heaven, right? It's exactly what you want with the person you want to do it with. So it really was a no-brainer.
Yeah, and you tie it back to Shiggy. He's him running that team and letting us go do it at such a young age, and young in our careers is pretty wild that he let us do it. And unfortunately, through his passing is really what got us, my opinion, talking again.
Yeah.
When he passed away last year,
Mm-hmm.
had no idea that the crew chief role was going to be even a thing with Phil Surgeon then coming off the road and wanting to stay home more.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first had the thought, I thought on it for a week, and I try to do that sometimes if I have like a crazy thought. I'm like, give me like one whole week, because my life and our lives in NASCAR revolve around the week schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like my week starts on Sunday night, basically, or Monday morning, and then it goes all the way till Sunday race day.
For sure.
Whatever time the race starts, that's like
For
the
sure.
end of my week. And I thought about it, and I still had the same feeling the next week. And I remember I think I texted you, and then we talked, and I was like, I want to come by and see y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, and I wanted Jackie in the room when I asked.
Yeah.
I think she was like washing dishes.
I think so.
And kids are running around, and I was just like, oh, how do I just gotta like word vomit this out, my thoughts. And I remember she just like looks up at me, and I'm sitting at your center island, and I'm like, this is what I think I want to try to do.
Yeah. I think if I back up probably 6 months before that, I think you and I had talked, and I don't remember exactly what the context of the conversation was, but I think I had told you where I was at in my career and kind of what I wanted to do and maybe what the options were. And I think I looked at you for a second opinion on things. And I think you kind of, I'm not saying you steered me, and we obviously had no idea this was going to come about, but I think back on that, I'm like, okay, well, that timing and how that conversation went probably, paved a little bit of the way for what happened. And obviously, that conversation, this past year, I commend you. I kind of had an idea when you text me of like, what else could it be? Right. Like, and, but I, kudos to you for, involving my wife. Obviously she's, a huge part of my career. She's been by my side. We're high school sweethearts. So she's seen it all. And, she's my number one supporter. And I think that, getting her blessing, cause she has to deal with the ups and downs of this sport just as much as I do. And so I look back at that now and I'm like, okay, I really, appreciated that effort to make sure that she's good with it. Right. Obviously the kids they're excited at the same time.
No, they weren't.
They weren't at first.
No, they weren't. They were not excited. Don't lie to everybody. Dax likes William.
Dax likes Connor. Dax really likes Connor.
Okay.
But they were partial to the 24, obviously. I'd lived that life for 7 years, and that's all they knew. When my daughter was born, I think was the end of my first year on the 24. So that's all she's ever known is that group. But I will say they knew you and they knew we were friends. But I think they treated you as just another one of the guys, right? You came to the house. I think you came to some birthday parties for them. So it wasn't like you were, how do I say this? Like some superstar, like you were Ross, you were friends to them. So it wasn't a big deal, right? I think as they've came to the racetrack this year, they've definitely obviously have more open up to the opportunity. I think Connor is still Dax's first choice.
Well, they're really similar in age, so they're closer.
They have similar haircuts.
They might be closer in age than I am to Connor.
I think you're right.
It's close.
I think they are. I think they're 10 years apart.
Yeah.
So yes, I would agree with that.
So you go back to like when we knew each other. I was in a townhouse with Lackey. We were roommates.
Yep.
And then we moved over to the house. Mark moved in. Yep. 3 of us, and that's when we were running around with everybody. Y'all got married at the end of 14.
Beginning of 15.
Beginning of 15.
Yep. January of 15. Yep. Close enough.
It was a blurry.
It was
time,
a blurry.
Okay.
Yep.
We went to Florida. You got married. Great time. You were in an apartment off of 77 at one point. Did you go straight from there to your house?
We did. So I lived, I think we lived in the university area for about 3.5 years. And then when I started working at Shiggy's, we moved to an apartment by the golf course in Mooresville, and we were there for about a year. And then we got married. And then it was kind of, okay, it's time to settle down. So we bought our house and we've been there ever since. So
You gonna stay there forever?
uh, if the housing market comes down, no. I would obviously love to find some property like everybody else, I feel like, in this area. You just want somewhere you can kind of spread your wings. The kids want, the kids want farm animals. I don't know why or what, but so yeah, we've looked through the years, just haven't really. So no, I don't think that's not the forever home.
Okay. You move into your house. You then go to work at Junior Motorsports, or was it HMS first and then you went to?
No.
How does it go?
So I go from Shiggy's. Our entire group from Shiggy's goes to TriStar, with Mark Smith.
Well, we went there for a fifth car.
Went there for a fifth car at
Homestead.
That was 14.
That was a terrible experience.
That was an adventure. Great bonding time because we drove a 15-passenger van down there. So we did that, and then that whole group rolled into Mark's to do Blake Cook's car in 15, and then Bruce Lee's Bristol time frame, in April-ish, to go to Billy Boats. And then I followed suit about a month later, finished the year at Billy's on the truck side. And then I was kind of under the impression, like, I need some security, right? I need a more level deal. So go to Junior Motorsports in 16, work with Dave Ellens as my crew chief. Obviously a great guy. I learned a lot from him from the engineering side, right? He was a race engineer before he became a crew chief. So worked with him all 3 years. All-star car in 16, and then worked with William in 17. Fortunate enough to win the Xfinity Championship in 17. We have Tyler Reddick in 18. Go back to back on the championships, and then obviously going into 19 is when Chad's going to take over the 24 at Hendrick, and they were looking for a lead engineer, and I think my relationship with William kind of opened that door. So that opportunity came about, and I felt like it was a no-brainer, right? Like, Chad Knaus calls you, you're taking the call, right? So I remember calling Dave, and I'm sure he remembers this to this day. I had talked to Chad. Chad had gave me the offer, and I called Dave, and Dave is at his rehearsal for his wedding, and I interrupted it to tell him that I'm leaving, right? So funny on that part, but he
answered?
He answered. I think they were in between something or whatever, but they were at the rehearsal, and he's like, "Hey, I gotta go." I'm like, "Oh, sorry," but he gave his blessing. He was 100% supportive. He knew the situation, and so worked with Chad for 2 years. And then Rudy comes in, and for 21, and then work with Rudy for 5 years. Obviously learned a lot from both those guys, and kind of preparing yourself for, your own crew chief opportunity. So I leaned on them for advice of, how to handle situations, how to call races, and really how to manage the people. I feel like that's kind of the biggest, step from most people taking, the next leap from a race engineer into a crew chief, is just the people management, right? And so trying to hone those skills over the last few years, and I feel like Rudy, gave me a lot of freedom and a lot of guidance on that. So I'm very appreciative. And obviously when this deal came about, I was pretty upfront with him because obviously I had a lot of time invested in that group, and you don't want to leave them hanging or in a bad spot, right? So I always told myself, this industry is very small and very tight knit, so you don't want to burn those bridges. So I was pretty, adamant in keeping that sentiment. So I kept him updated as much as I knew, and he was obviously gracious to, allow me the freedom to talk to people and shop opportunities as they came about. So,
what's something that you didn't expect? Okay, you've watched Dave, you've watched Rudy, you've watched Chad, but now you've called a couple of races. What is there one thing that stands out that you didn't expect?
So, I was fortunate enough to call some of Williams' Xfinity races in 24. And I think the biggest thing for anybody is, those situations arise, those random calls you have to make to pit or the feedback, you say a lot of it in your mind, but you're not pushing the button to say it. So you catch yourself and you're like, shoot, like I didn't tell him that. Right. And so like, that's kind of the newness thing I think you have to get used to, of like, you're the guy talking on the radio and you're saying, like, you have to give the information. So that's just like, it's like for anybody getting that newness.
How do you look at strategy? So we just ran CODA. So I just say it. We took stage points in stage one.
Yep.
Is it, when you build that out, is it all analytical? Are you looking at maximum points with the way the point structure is this year? Is it speed related? How do you, because you were ultimately the one that made the final decision to stay out. Like, I'm coming to 2 to go. We're within 9-10 seconds of the leader.
Yep.
And it's silent. So I just keep running.
Yep.
We're staying out. We're going to grab the points. How do you go in? How do you make those decisions now with what all you know?
You know, a lot of it is, obviously the new point system this year. And I thought we had good pace in the car, and I was very optimistic that if we took the points early, that we could, still salvage a good day and, potentially get points in the second stage. So, I think I knew maybe about halfway through that lap that I knew the 12 was pitting. And I'm like, all right, 10 points is right here at our grass. And unfortunately, we had no stage points up to that point.
Yeah. Oh, you've reminded me every week.
Listen, man, like I've lived this. We've all lived it. Those stage points add up for the total year. So I was a little bit, headstrong on wanting those stage points. And I knew if I could get them then, I felt what we had top 3, top 5 speed, that you take 10 there, maybe you get 2 or 3 in the next one, and you finish in the top 5. It's a great points day, right? And not saying we were in a hole at that time, but I think you could stack them pretty deep. So I knew when the 12 was pitting, I was like, he knows what my ammo is, so I don't need to tell him, which I probably could have told you just as a reminder. But I thought, okay, we're taking the points. And then the second stage comes. Obviously, we stall on pit road, give up 5-6 spots, restarts okay. I wouldn't say it was stellar, but it was okay. So then you're the back half of the teens, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna get 1 or 2. I've got to short it because more guys were going to as well. And then you're just gonna bury yourself. I feel like the guys that took stage points in the second stage, I don't know who the best one was off the top of my head, but I think some of them were in the 20s, in the final stage. And I was like, I didn't want to do that. So I think all in all, we don't have the wheel coming off. I think you could finish 5th to 7th, and you're going to walk away with a really good points day.
I agree. What's one thing, you've known me for over a decade, but what's one thing that people might not know about me, to turn it back on me? It's my show, my podcast. I can ask whatever I want. What's something that people might not know about me, that now that you are fully vested working with me day in and day out, you've known me for 12 plus years now, what's something that maybe if you had to describe me to somebody that a fan that's never met me might not know?
Oh, I mean, I will say that, you're not the most timely person on things. No offense. You have a very busy schedule. And I laugh about it. Like I think you do above and beyond as far as commitments. And I don't know if people realize that at times you're a very busy person. But at the same time, if I ever need something, even before I was in this role, as we were friends, if I would call you, you would answer the phone or give me a call back very quickly. Like, I always appreciated that. Like, I could text you, and we may not have talked for 6 months, but you're at least a guy that will, return a phone call. Sometimes you don't answer a text, but a phone call you typically return. So I feel like that's how our relationship's been. I don't know if that's what you're looking for.
Total guilty as charged. I set clocks ahead 5 minutes, and I wish I could set my iPhone ahead. Yeah. And like, if it was ahead and it's been like imprinted into me by my dad, my uncle Rich, especially my granddad. Like, if you're on time, you're late.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm pretty sure my uncle Rich has borderline fired people for being on time before, because that's late.
Yeah.
And it's usually, I'm sure, a whole body of
Yeah.
work,
I'm
but
sure.
it drives me crazy because I'll have all the intention of being
Mhm.
there early. And then it's like, I got to send the team's message that I'm going to be 5 minutes
Yep.
late.
Yep.
And I have gotten at least, like, I don't like to keep people waiting. I'm like, you know what? If you got to move on with your day, we'll reschedule this meeting.
Yep.
Yeah, no, guilty. And 33 years old trying to make it better.
Oh, you're
Haven't.
good.
It's a good thing the race cars go fast.
That's right.
Sometimes that makes a lot of it better.
Yeah.
If you look back at that kid, okay, modified mini stock driver, were you looking at that car ever with like, how can I make it faster from an engineering standpoint? Did you ever try to, like, or was that after you stopped driving?
I think it was
'Cause
more after, I would say.
I never looked at a car from like, oh, I'm going to move the pivots or I'm going to move
No.
this. I always just was like, how do I drive it? Even as an early age, even if I was bolting it together, I started in a metric chassis Monte Carlo,
Mhm.
and it was just like, fix it, put something out of the junkyard on. It was all U-pull parts.
Yep.
And new trailing arms in the back, new this, new that, just to make it run. And then I had to go drive it. That's
Yeah.
how my dad raised me. So I didn't know if you.
Probably similar. I when I drove, I was probably 16 to 18, maybe into 20. So not really on the stories you hear about people being very, genius on some of that stuff. Honestly, I probably wasn't. I was the same way as you. I was like, I would work on it myself, obviously, and keep things going. And I drove that modified mini stock was a front wheel drive. And so if you want to go to a different track, you had to change transmission out. So doing that by yourself, you kind of figure out the ins and outs, right? It's not the easiest task, but so like stuff like that I could handle. But as far as like, yeah, you're like, oh, I'm gonna, move this pivot, I'm gonna, work on this camber, do this stuff. I honestly probably wasn't until I think later on when I wasn't driving and I started, helping Keith Lilly, with his, he had a pro truck at the time. I think then I had a modified and later a super, trying to kind of figure out things, you know what I mean? Like I honestly wasn't super tuned in on what things were. Like for a long time, I didn't know what bump steer was. You know what I mean? Like you see a bump steer gauge and you're like, what is that for? Right. So being exposed to that stuff, that way when I came up here, I at least had somewhat of an idea of what it was. But I wasn't the guy, building some trick body and aero widgets and all that. I was more like, same with you. I'm like, all right, what line do I need to run? How do I need to go faster? What stagger do I need? Stuff like that. So
everybody's got a different opinion about what they're going to run.
It is. So like you meet people along the way that kind of guide you and kind of help. So listen, driving to me was for fun. I knew I wasn't going to make a career out of it. I was footing the bill out of my own pocket. So it was something I enjoyed. My wife and I laugh about this now. We went to New Smyrna. I don't remember what year it was, but we went down there. It's just her and I told her she had a spot. And she told me she wasn't doing it, right? So New Smyrna, obviously a half-mile racetrack, so super fast for our style car. And I remember going there, and she's like, "I'm not doing it." And I was like, "Why? I need somebody." So she went, chatting with people and found somebody to do it. It ended up being Daniel Webster. Found him. Hey, will you spot? Yeah, sure, I'll do it. So she was. I got her to spot a few times at Arbondale or at I think she spotted Orlando one time for me, but she was there to support. She just didn't want to roll to do it right. So
yeah,
but it was good.
That's cool. Final question: when we were at Shiggy's, what kind of sim program were you using? Did you have one? What were you?
No, we were getting some support from Toyota and TRD. Very basic, you would get pictures from them. You would get some tire information. You could use their facilities. But a lot of it, honestly, you're using past notes, right, from Bruce.
From Bruce.
So yeah, you go pull the car down, just to set your travels, and a lot of that's you're just targeting. Hey, I want X amount of wheel travel. So it's very
all based on what he's done in the past.
All based on, and then you go to the racetrack, which at that time you had practice, right? So if you missed it, you could get it closer. Or today with having the shorter practices and the limitations of what you can change, the window to getting it is really tight, right? So back then it was a little bit easier to be, I say 80% of the way there, and then you could get it the other 20. But yeah, no sim experience until I went to junior motorsports. So, and that was obviously
Did college prepare you for that?
I think college really prepares you for how to be a critical thinker and how to problem solve and how to handle those situations. I'm sure most people know, or maybe you don't, the racetrack, there's a lot of split second decisions, right? Information comes in really quick. You've got to kind of, interpret the data as it comes in, understand the feedback, and then try to apply a solution very quickly. Especially in our 25-minute practices, you're trying to get back out as quick as you can. So the guys, the mechanics are trying to do their normal routine. They're waiting on information from you. So you digest the information. I'm taking your feedback. Probably don't have time to really run it through sim quickly. So it's like, okay, I know my sensitivities. This is what I want to do. And, some of it is a little bit of a off the hip. But a lot of it is, being prepared, of knowing, okay, a percent of wedge is this, a ride height is this, shot clicks are this sensitivity. So I think it helps you hone in on taking that problem, quickly adapt and get an answer.
As we interview different guests this year, and you're guest number 1, we're going to try to tie everybody together with a little game. We're going to call it the Homegrown Challenge. We're going to give each guest 60 seconds. And I'm going to ask you as many questions as you can answer about Florida, your home state. So I think Too Tall, he's going to talk about Arizona. Get your mind going on Florida stats, all the, what you would hear at some kind of, a game night type questions. I'm from Florida, so I'm going to be judging you if you don't know these things.
Okay.
I don't think I would know them.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
But remember, you got hired because you're the smart guy. And remember when we got you and you committed, I then said, go build the team however you want. And I left you alone to do that. I don't want to be involved, and I don't want to be involved in these answers. So you were definitely the guy that I think I would have peeked over and looked at your test if we were classmates back in the day.
I appreciate that. It's a nice little pat on the back.
Yep. All right, Ben, you ready? What's the capital of Florida?
Tallahassee.
What's Florida's nickname?
Sunshine State.
What's Florida's state animal?
Oof, don't know.
Who's the governor of Florida?
Ron DeSantis.
What is Florida's motto?
Don't know.
Name 3 NASCAR Cup Series drivers, past or present, from Florida.
Joe Nemechek. David Ruderman. You. Duh.
Florida is the United States' #1 producer of what fruit?
I don't know if it's oranges anymore.
Somebody said oranges. That's questionable. Yeah. How many cup races are in Florida in 2026?
3.
What is Florida's largest city proper by population? You know that one?
By population? Size-wise, it's Jacksonville. I don't know if it's by population.
It is.
Okay.
We'll give him that one. Yeah, I don't know if oranges is still it or not.
Listen,
there's a lot of progress happening. People are planting new varieties of citrus. It's exciting stuff.
So I'll share the story with you real quick. So when we were home for Thanksgiving, my wife and I obviously are from the same hometown, and so we're driving around, and where I grew up, orange trees were prevalent, highly prevalent in Polk County. And So now when you go home, there's a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of subdivisions that have been built. There's not a lot of orange groves anymore. And so we're talking as we're driving through the town, like, oh, that used to be, this big orange grove. We used to ride 4-wheelers through this orange grove, dirt bikes through here. And we're talking and we're telling our kids this. And obviously they're 6 and 9. And my wife turns around and she's like, do you even know what an orange grove is? And they had no idea, have never seen one in their lives. And it's just funny because obviously I grew up, we would go pick oranges, and you rode through them and they were kind of a second nature thing. And now I feel like that industry obviously is continued to move south. And I feel like there for a while, blueberries were very predominant in the county. But I don't know if that's true anymore or not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, there was a grove right across from our farm, from our packing house, my entire life. And now we've actually farmed that land because the grove is gone. We pushed it. We cleared it. That was part of how we got to farm it 2 years ago. So pretty crazy.
It is crazy.
But there's some light at the end of the tunnel for it. There's a glimmer. We'll see if they can get
I hope so. Some
of their selective breeding is showing some promise. So, Good. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming out here. Not too far of a ride for you.
No.
Just out 150?
Yeah, about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. Georgia Boots wants to say thank you for being my crew chief.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
There's no good way to really hand this to you, so I'm going to slide it over. You mow your own yard? You pushing it?
I push my own yard.
Yep. All right, well, these will be good for that.
Awesome.
You can wear them to the track if you want.
Probably.
I know you're a big on cloud guy.
I'm on Nikes this year. I've got away from.
They all look the same.
They do look the same. But yeah, no, these are great. I can definitely wear them around the house, and it's not really winter anymore.
Let's wear them outside. They're boots, made to be worked in.
I appreciate that.
All right,
awesome,
cool, buddy.
Thank you.
A big thanks to Georgia Boot and Brandon McSwain for taking the time to tell his story. Hopefully, everybody got a little better color behind who the guy is on top of our pit box, and fellow Viking fan for you.
I didn't know that. Yeah, we talked after we got done with recording. From Florida, but a Vikings fan, which
fair weather guy. Randy Moss was up there.
Yeah.
I mean, look, in those days there was nothing to root for in any of our three NFL teams. So I don't blame them. Other than they've went up to games in December.
Yeah,
that's
cold.
That's Florida people. That's crazy.
Yeah. Luckily that stadium there is indoors, but I mean, once you step outside when it's negative 15 out, you're probably he was probably gunning for the airport.
Yeah, for sure. So I've got the Bassmaster Classic, their celebrity pro-am coming up. I did not grow up a fisherman. Okay. So like learning to fish with real professionals that have spent years or decades doing it in the past. I got 2 years ago, I was with Logan Parks. Last year, Rick Clunn, the GOAT. I mean, and those two guys are similar, but very different in how they both taught me to fish. And when I stepped on each of their boats, I'm like, don't assume I know anything. Like, I just tell me what to do. Please critique my fishing etiquette here. And I put a fish in the boat before Rick did.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. I got excited. He then did the rest of his before I got another one. But I put one in. Hopefully the weather's a little better this year. But we fished no matter what. We were soaking wet last year when we got done to white capping waves out there. But I think it's a good crossover event for NASCAR and fishing a lot. I think if I'm kind of the asterisk. Like if you're a NASCAR fan, you're probably a fisherman.
Yeah.
So I'm learning to do it a little later in life. Dad didn't raise us as fishermen. So,
and being in Florida, you'd think there'd be something there.
There's so much opportunity and we didn't do it.
Missed out.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I don't know, but it's fun. Excited to go do it again. Vegas. Gonna do a little Old Red action.
Old Red. I still haven't been to Old Red.
What?
Yeah, neither Nashville nor Vegas.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. I love Blake Shelton though.
Good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pat Spinoza is gonna be out there.
Yep. Shout out Pat.
Yep. Gonna be a good time. We're gonna record a.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, I think doing like a live show. Deal there.
Yeah. So now that's not Agged Asphalt.
Just like a farmer.
Just like a
Or
farmer
Pat
side.
Spinoza.
It's like a farmer.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all. Hey, y'all. It's Pat. Hey, y'all. It's Pat.
No, Pat is the reason all this is happening. So came across Patrick several years ago. Got to be friends with him. He pushed us to do Ag to Asphalt. It's not something I was comfortable with. Josh Allen is involved with him on the Like a Farmer side. So definitely they've been the engine behind this.
For sure.
To push us.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of the back end work. Once we record, they do a lot of the editing and posting once you turn it over to them. So it's the way I understand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how any of this works. There's so many wires behind these cameras, folks. I don't understand. So we're in a barn. Okay. That's all
Yeah.
I did. I got the barn ready and then they did everything else. So, yeah, Pat, Florida guy, fellow Florida guy, comes from a long line of farmers. Definitely been a good family to get to know. So, yeah, we've had some good times together. We're gonna have some more good times at Old Red. So, yeah. We'll see what he'll actually say on the mic. He pretty much says everything.
He does. I wasn't aware that he had a filter like that.
I'm much more reserved.
Yeah. You've come out of your shell, though, I would say, on this show specifically.
It's all about the chair, man.
That's what it was.
You had me on that bar stool last
Yeah.
year. It's a great Chevy bar stool.
Yeah.
Off camera.
We still have it. It's still a part of the set.
It is.
Yeah.
But these chairs are great.
Anything in the race in Vegas? Because obviously, like we said, by the time this comes out, it'll be, prepping for Vegas. Is there anything you're looking forward to there?
Not speeding on pit road.
Yep.
I went through a couple years there where I sped in section 1. The line's in a very odd spot for how I view pit road and where I think it is. And then when I get the visual on it, I've sped. So not doing that. Very important. No extra races for me. We'll be coming in straight from the Bassmaster. So we'll definitely go from water to dry.
Very quickly.
Very quickly. So, excited to get on track somewhere that the one car has performed well, but we'll see what McSwain brings. If he brings something similar, if the car feels the same. At some of the tracks this year, it's felt different, even though it's the same chassis we've ran before. Excited to feel it and give him my feedback in practice.
Right on. Yeah, looking forward to it. Well, that's all we got. Episode 1, finally off the ground. It was a month in the making.
It was.
Yeah.
We've had this scheduled so many times.
Yeah.
I had to cancel. I was sick one week. The weather. It's just it wasn't anybody's top priority.
Yeah.
So it kept getting kicked.
Right. Yeah.
But we're here now.
We are now. And now that the first one's out of the way, I think it'll be smooth sailing from here. So
yeah. All right. Thanks for checking out episode 1 of season 3 of Ag to Asphalt, presented by Fresh from Florida and powered by Like a Farmer. Now, we're going to try to get these episodes out every other Thursday on the Like a Farmer YouTube page, where you can see us on screen. Or if you just want to listen, you can hear us on the Like a Farmer audio podcast, wherever you listen to your podcasts. So we'll see y'all in the next episode.